Remembrance Day art, collage with radial lines. Why are we doing this? We're trying to build on the lessons that we've done before about shapes and lines. We're attempting to continue learning how we reduce forms to basic shapes. And we're going to use a special type of line called a radial line to create natural texture, the texture that a poppy has. And we're also going to practice overlapping shapes and changing the size and scale of shapes to make things look like they're closer to the viewer or farther away from the viewer. It's going to be really cool. So I'm going to show you all the things that you're going to need. And then after I show you, there's going to be a slide telling you what you need. So you can pause the video and go and get it. So first you're going to need, do you remember last week when we did our shapes activity? I had some leftover scraps. So I grabbed some green and red and I'm going to use those. I've also grabbed some construction paper in black and red. So we're going to make some poppies here. So we're going to want some colored paper if possible. We're going to use some circular objects in different sizes. A black pen or a pencil will work. A black marker. And if you have it, a pastel, a white pastel or wax crayon, or even a white pencil crayon. And it's optional to have a ruler as well. If you don't have one, that's no big deal. So here's the materials you'll need. Pause the video and you can go collect them. I wanted to go over a specific term for art. It is the word collage. So a collage is when an artist creates art by cutting, tearing, and then gluing the paper or other materials onto a background. And actually the word collage means to glue in French. We're going to be making a collage today. So we're going to be cutting and gluing down some different shapes. All right, so I'm going to start by tracing some different sized circles onto my red construction paper. So I'm using my pen and I'm just going to trace around several different sized circles. So I've got a big one and then I'm going to do a medium size one. I'm going to do it on my scrap paper that I have painted with watercolors. And I'm going to do a small size circle. And then I've decided that I want to do odd numbers because I just feel like it will look better in my final project, in my final composition. So I have 3. I'm going to trace 2 more circles. Then I'm going to take my black marker and I'm not going to outline it. I'm going to outline it freehand. I'm not going to outline it while tracing. The reason why I want to do freehand is because I want to get a little bit of like a wavy line around the edges, like the line that's going to happen if I kind of like imperfectly outline it. So I'm not trying to be super perfect with my outline. I kind of want it to be a little bit wiggly. So I'm doing a little bit of a wiggly line around the outside here. All right, now that I've done outlining them, I'm gonna use my ruler. So this is optional to use a ruler. If you don't have a ruler, you're just gonna draw a line straight down the middle of your circle, dividing it right in half. And then you'll draw a line across the other way, dividing it in half the other way. And what we're doing here, and we'll do another one dividing it, we're doing radial lines, special type of line called radial lines. So we're going out from the center. Now I'm not using a ruler anymore. I just did the ruler as a way to get my those 4 crosses done. So I kind of have some guides for how to draw these radial lines. So I'm just drawing them out from the center and meeting at the edge of the circle. It doesn't really matter if I go over the edge of the circle a little bit because I'm going to be cutting out these circles. So there, I've created the texture of a poppy with radial lines radiating out from the center. All right, remember the term radial lines are a special type of line that spread out from the center of something. So I'm now going to repeat the process of drawing those radial lines on all of my poppies. Oh wow, that was really fast. You guys take your time with this. Okay, now I'm gonna cut out all of my poppies using my scissors. And I'm gonna speed up this part of the video as well so that you don't get bored watching me cut them out. But again, you should take your time with the cutting. So we'll go and we'll cut all of them out. Done. Okay, now I've grabbed a circular object. It's a bottle of glasses cleaner, and I'm just tracing around it with my white pencil crayon on my black construction paper. So these, I'm sure you guessed what these are going to be. They're going to be the center of my poppies. So I've drawn 2 bigger circles, and then I'm drawing freehand some other smaller circles for my smaller poppies. They don't need to be perfectly centered because poppies are not perfectly symmetrical because they're flowers, they're natural forms. So now I'm going to cut those black circles out, sped up with the magic of television. Now I'm done. I'm going to take a white drawing tool. So I've got either a pencil crayon, a wax crayon, or a pastel. I'm going to decide which one works best, so which one gives me sort of the darkest line, and I'm trying out some different techniques. So I've tried using the side of my crayon, and I've also tried doing some dots with my pastel. And I'm going to just do sort of a circle spiral shape in the middle of my poppy center. And this is really up to you. You can do a dot or a spiral in the center. And I'm gonna then do some dots, some dot texture. So this is just showing the texture in the center of the poppy. You can try out different materials with this and see which one you like best. Whatever you have access to at home. All right, so I'm done. Now I'm gonna overlap those centers on top of the background of my poppy. So you'll see what I mean in just a second. And then once I have created poppies by using both a red circle and a black circle, like this, then I'm going to overlap the poppies themselves to make it look like there are some in the front and some in the back, and to give the illusion of depth, like this, right? We can see the ones in the front and then the ones in the back. All right, so I'm just taking my time doing some arranging, doing some overlapping, and deciding which arrangement I like best. And I can have my poppy shapes going over the edge of my paper, and then I can just cut them off later. And I also used a green sheet of construction paper. This was left over from last week's shape activity. So I had some texture for my background created already. If you want, you can go ahead and use some watercolor paints or some pastels or crayons to create your background texture. All right, as you can see, now I'm gonna glue. I'm ready to glue. I have an arrangement that I like. I'm gonna glue the centers down, and then I will glue the poppy shapes down as well in the arrangement that I have decided. All right, here we go, super fast motion. Gluing them all down, and then I'm pressing them so that, and then I've cut off the extras that have been overlapped. And then just for fun, I've decided I'm going to use some pastels and crayons to continue working my background, adding some more texture, using lines to create texture, and I'm going to enhance my centers with a pencil crayon. Do some more dots in there. Just doing some details and some finishing touches. It might be a great idea to leave your artwork and then do your finishing touches after you've left it for a little while. So there's my final result. I hope that you enjoy this project, and I hope that you really create some artwork that you like and will cherish. Thanks for watching.